The Drum Candy Podcast is brought to you by Drum Factory Direct.
Welcome into episode 8 of season 5 of the Drum Candy Podcast. This is your host, Mike Dawson, coming to you from Drum Factory Direct in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Before we get to the second half of my conversation with Gregory Hutchinson, just a couple of things to talk about here. First of all, a reminder, if you're in the Pittsburgh area on January 23rd from 6 to 9, I will be co-hosting Drums and Stuff Hang at the Hawthorne Drum Shop. That's sponsored by Drum Factory Direct, the Drum Candy Podcast, the Pennsylvania chapter of the Percussive Arts Society, and Hawthorne Drum Shop. I'll be doing a little thing on drum tuning. I think I'll just do with a rack tom, maybe a snare drum. And then David Throckmorton will be there to give a clinic. We have some free pizza, some free drinks. It's a casual hang. It's free. Again, that is on January 23rd from 6 to 9 at Hawthorne Drum Shop. And we just announced our second masterclass. Last year, we brought in Mark Giuliano to give a masterclass. This year, we're bringing in Carter McLean. That is happening on April 28th. We do have an Eventbrite event for that because it is a ticketed event. It is $99 for a seat. We're limited to 35 seats, so if you want to come, make sure you go over to Eventbrite. Just search for Carter McLean Drum Masterclass. It is hosted again over at Hawthorne Drum Shop, co-sponsored by DFD, Pennsylvania Percussive Arts Society, Ludwig, Istanbul, Evans, ProMark. That's going to be a good hang. That's a Sunday, so that's Sunday from 4 to 6. Again, go over to Eventbrite, get your tickets now, $99 for the Carter McLean Masterclass. That is on April 28th. Okay, let's get to the second half of my conversation with the great modern jazz drummer, Gregory Hutchinson. We are talking about all sorts of things, including his new project, Da Bang. So let's get to it. Greg Hutchinson. Originality versus employability. You're kind of tapping into this a little bit. Like, where's the line and how do you navigate that?
Knowing what's required of the music will keep you employed. Not overplaying the situations, but bringing some shit to it, showing up ahead of time, not on time, but ahead of time, and being in the right frame of mind. So you see here today, I've polished off a bottle of champagne. Well, I've been celebrating because I deserve to celebrate. But guess what? If I'm on a gig or I'm working, I'm not going to do this before the gig. Maybe I might have a glass, and this is a small bottle, so don't get it the wrong way. And there's still some inside too. But the point is being clear-minded, understanding what's required of the gig, but then and understanding how you can push the people in the band to play better, but not showing up late, not showing up fucked up. Unprepared. Those things don't work, man. That's when they call somebody else. So just understand what's required and be professional. Being professional. That's the quickest answer. Yeah.
Now, back in your earlier days with Betty Carter and Ray Brown, were you able to insert yourself, or was it more subservient?
That's why they hired me. I've been lucky. Ray Brown. Jeff Hammer played with Ray Brown for a long time. When I got in the band, the first thing Ray Brown said is, okay, that was then, this is now. I heard you with Roy Hargrove. That's what I want. Betty Carter came in. She's the first person that actually put me on the right path. So, as a young man, you check out, man, I checked out all the greats. I'm like, oh, I'm playing with Betty Carter. So let me come in there and play my Philly shit. The first rehearsal, the first tune, I'm playing some slick shit. I think it's slick. Stop. She said, what the fuck was that? I said, well, what do you mean? She said, what was that? She said, don't ever play that again. She said, what with that shit? I don't want to hear that. That's old. He told me that's old. She's like, I hired Greg Hutchinson. What do you have to bring to the table? Damn. I don't need Phil. I don't need Blakey. I don't need Max. I don't need Tony. I need Greg Hutchinson. If you can't do it, I'll get somebody who can. Ooh, she only had to tell me once. All of that stuff went out of the. I was like, damn, man, she done took away half my vocabulary.
Yeah, what do you do?
You know what? You grow very fast, and that's why I talk about that last step. I had gotten all the other steps, but I forgot the last step: change. So right then and there, I figured, oh, I want to keep the gig. I better change from that tune to the next tune. It was completely different.
That's
And so
wild.
thank you, Carter, for inspiring me and really putting me on the path for that. Yeah.
I mean, what does that mean? You don't play drags anymore? You don't play four-stroke roughs? I mean,
No. You figure out a different way to play it. And disguise. Because I didn't get rid of all that stuff, but I just got really good, boy. I was like, okay, everything I've thought of and how I've thought of playing it, I got to come up with a different way to do it because she's heard it, but maybe she's never heard it like this. So, and that's what I did. And lucky, sometimes she would look back like, and then she couldn't figure out. She's like, go ahead. Yeah, she couldn't tell. She's like, I think, never mind. Go ahead.
That's amazing. So then when it came time to join up with your peers, with Joshua Redmond and all those guys, was that like, wait, we're going to do whatever we want at this point? I mean, you were still kind of respecting the language, but it definitely felt
always
modern.
But I was considering, I was out here way before a lot of the cats, my peers, were out here playing. So I was already on the road for a long time. So I understood what that meant, what she was saying. And so I was able to get to it way before and really kind of, so when I came into the band with Josh, yeah, we still had that lineage, that language, but I was going on another way. I was hitting another zone then. I was like, okay, yeah, here we go. Now this is where we can really stretch out and come into my own playing and really start to influence my generation. So I'm the influence on my generation, and that's pretty much understood. Everybody understands that. So me saying it is not gloating, but it's the truth. Like, I've influenced my generation. But that could only happen because I had those guys around me, and I had my good friends around me, and Nasheed Waits, Eric McPherson, all the New York cats that was around at that time. My teachers, Kenny Washington, Marvin Smitty Smith, like I said, the late great Wade Barnes passed away, and Justin DeChocho. All of these people made it possible for me to come into my own at that point.
When you and Blade played double drums,
ooh, my band, I love it.
What is that all about? How do you guys navigate? Is there any discussion whatsoever?
Don't need to be. We're like brothers from another mother's mother. This is where you understand that we don't compete with anybody. You only compete with yourself. And at a certain level, it's apples and oranges. It's just, what sound do you want? That's all it is. Mm-hmm. And so Blade or me and Harlan or me and Bill Stewie, it's the same. Like, I'm fascinated by listening to what the hell they play, man. And, so sometimes with me and Blade, during a recording session, we would just be sitting there looking at each other, and Josh would be like, well, one of you motherfuckers please play? Like, can somebody please play? Because that love is there. And I've known Blade, since he was in school. And that's my dude, it's like we're complete opposites, but we're really not. Mm-hmm. We're very much the same, but we're complete opposites in how we Blade's real soft spoken sometimes, and and I'm like, I'm out there, I'm crazy, and I love being crazy. But then Blade is actually also crazy. You just don't know it. Like, if you really get to know him, he's really, same thing with Bill Stewart. Bill Stewart is. People don't talk enough about Bill Stewart. Bill Stewart is one of the coldest cats I know. Mm-hmm. So cold. And when you sit up there on stage with him, you better bring it, because, man, he's bringing it every night. I said that one night, but we were on the road because Blade couldn't make the tour and Bill did it. I said, Bill, man, can you take your foot just a little bit out of my backside? He said, man, you putting your foot in mine too. I said, man, listen, I can't even walk now. Please, just give me a little. It's just so cold every night. It's just so cold. I need a sweater because you're just killing me, man. But that I love. It's inspiration. Like, I'm learning as I'm playing with these guys, and so not at any point did I feel a competitive edge or anything like that. No, it was always like, man, this is a privilege to play with another great drummer. It's a privilege to me. So we had a ball.
Did you ever get a chance to play drums with someone like Jack or some of your mentors?
No, I wish. Oh, actually, no. Yes. We did a thing with Betty Carter, me, Jack, and Kenny Washington. So we didn't play at the same time, but we played right behind each other. And then Jack playing like me and Kenny. I was like, Kenny, man, what the hell is he doing? Like, let's ask him about. So we were like, hey Jack, wait a minute, show us that shit and show us that. What's your concept to like getting around the drum set? He said, well, I never really. And then all of a sudden he'd be like, Jack has this fluidity about him, and I'm like, that looks like wait, is that hold on, what? It's like a combination of different things thrown in there, but it's Jack. And he was so willing to share, and he's super cool. Every time I see him, it's the same kind of love. So, the masters, the beautiful thing about them, they will share. All you got to do is listen. All you got to do is ask and listen.
Amazing. Gosh, I have other like random questions.
Go ahead, man.
How do you deal with backline? Do you mess with it, or you just play it as it lies?
Well, I always get there, and hopefully they get the stuff that you need. But at the same time, this is the backline right here, right? As long as the shit ain't falling over, we gonna make it happen. Your ears, and it's funny that I always tell people your ears are tuned to certain frequencies, and you're used to hearing certain things. Practice the drums at a different frequency. Like imagine like you get to a drum set and it completely sucks. Is that going to stop you from playing what you already know you can play because you hear something differently? So you're like, oh, it doesn't sound right, but you have to learn how to do it. So sometimes I detune my drums and act like I got a set of drums where the lugs can't be tuned or whatever. And I still have to figure out. So the ride cymbal is the most important. Like if we're talking about straight ahead, the ride cymbal, the hi-hat, and the snare drum. That's all I really need to, right? So I always make sure that's cool. Everything else is a plus. The bass drums are a plus. The toms are a plus. So you learn to do that, and then when you get to when you get to the show, whatever, I just always get there early, tune the drums the way I want them to sound, and then see what happens.
Do you always carry your own cymbals?
Oh, she's sitting right here next to me.
So why Paiste? What does Paiste give you?
Because I helped them come up and reinvent the masters. So I feel great about that. And it's just the sound. I was looking for a certain sound, and I was doing a gig with Schofield in Zurich, and it's a drummer named Kasper Rast. Great drummer, man. And he had these masters. And I was with Zildjian at the time, man. I said, wait, hold up. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Wow. And then the whole thing was when I got with them, when we started tiddling around with the masters, I said, now they need to be able to sound like this off the shelf. I don't want to have to always go to the factory to get, and guess what, man? They send me cymbals all the time. I put them on and I'm like, damn, okay. Yep. That's exactly what I need right off the shelf. Now, my whole thing is just getting I'm really particular. So I'm trying to get the cymbals to see if we make a different version of the masters, a little thinner, or just mess around with different weights, but they sound great already. So Kelly, thank you. Eric, thank you. Christian, thank you. The love is great. I just saw Christian in Zurich. And so the cymbals, they have to represent your personality, who you are. And for me, like I said, it could be any cymbal I play because the sound is really here. I think we get caught up a lot of times. It's right here. If you can't get it here, it doesn't matter what you play. If you don't know how to not throw the stick on the cymbal, but how to actually move your wrist, walk the dog. If it's swinging, then it doesn't matter. You can have an okay. You still gonna sound like shit.
Is it more left hand when you're talking about pocket? Is that where the sound comes from?
Oh yeah, I'm looking at you, but I'm like, wait, left hand? Yeah. Pocket comes from here. Really, like pocket comes from how you feel this pulse in here. And of course, the manipulation of the snare drum and how you get it here. But it really is, we all have our own pocket. We just have to find where that pocket is and then bring that onto the drum set. Sounds really corny, but it's so true. Like if you don't feel this pocket, there's no way you're going to be but you got to understand the touch and the ghosted notes, the long notes and the short notes. So if you can't understand those things, then you won't play pocket either, because everything will same. There's short notes and there's long notes. So how do you understand that? And when we swing, it's the same thing. Long notes versus short notes.
Who are your archetypes for pocket playing?
Oh, wow. Woo. Wow, let's go. Let's see. I love Gad, Steve Ferrone, Omar, Dennis, of course, Cobham. We Come Younger. I love Keith Carlock. I love Nate Smith. Harlan, Eric Moore, Teddy Campbell, John Roberts. Now, I went to school with a guy who actually, I will call him the godfather of how these younger cats play. And his name is Gerald Haywood. Mm-hmm. And Gerald, and another drummer, Nathaniel Townsley, went to school together. Nathaniel was a trumpet player. We're all buddies. And so Gerald was playing all that stuff back in high school. And he was showing me all that stuff back in high school. So I had the hands, he had the foot. I showed him the hands, he showed me the foot. So all of that I was hearing back then. So Gerald really was, influential in for me, because I got to hear it, this style. I don't know if you want to call it gospel drum or whatever. I just call it soulful drumming. And he was doing that back then. And if we're going to go there, Joel Smith, who's a great, gospel drummer. So there's so many different guys with Yogi Thornton back in the day, rest in peace. He played so hard. That shit was incredible. Yeah. So there's so many, Ivan Hamden. There's so many great drummers, so everyone has a different pocket. So I've checked out all those drummers, it's amazing, because the pocket is the consistency is the same, but everyone approaches it. If you take a New Orleans drummer who plays pocket, they approach it one way. If you take someone from a different region, the pocket has a different flavor to it, and that's the thing I like about it. Not all the same, just different nuances.
You mentioned Omar a few times. Did you see him around New York when you were coming up? That was him. He was working the scene heavy at that point, right?
Yeah. I actually auditioned for his band, but I was still too young when he was trying to go out and sing.
Sick. When would that have been? After Weather Report?
Yeah. He did a solo project, and he wanted to go out and he wanted to sing. He didn't want to play drums, so I auditioned for him. I remember that. Now it seems so weird. But yeah, Omar, I used to see Omar a lot, man. He was killing Smitty. Smitty was another one for me. Smitty was my next door neighbor. So I took lessons with him. So I learned double bass drum playing, all that stuff, how to manipulate the rudiments from him, who was a beast. And he played too much drums, Now,
what would that have been? What was he doing at the time? Was he with Steve Coleman at the time? What was the gig?
Yep. So all the odd time stuff, I learned all that stuff from watching him play,
So you grew up in Brooklyn?
I'm Brooklynite. Yes, sir.
So where would you just hop on the train and go downtown? Like, where would you see these guys play?
Oh, McKell's, all these other spots that were open. The Knitting Factory. What else was open at that time? Shoot. It was CBGB's was open at that time. I can't even remember the names of some of these spots.
You were a teenager. So yeah. You were just hanging out in the clubs as a teenager on your own, or was someone taking you?
On my own.
Yeah.
I was supposed to be somewhere else, but I was, my mother passed. So now, yeah. Sorry, Mom. I wasn't really with my aunt. Yeah, well, that's what you have to do. I mean, I wasn't getting into any trouble. I was just hearing the music that I wanted to play. My dad's a drummer, so I got to, I really learned a lot from him. So it was, that was the first beginning. Like the one drops I learned from watching my dad play. He was crazy. So his pocket was crazy. So that's why I got my pocket from him really first.
Are you in Europe for the long term? I mean, is that your home now? Or you have any plans to come back stateside?
We're coming back. Yeah, we're coming back. Myself and my girlfriend, we plan to, hopefully in the next year or so, 2 years within that. Well, a lot depends on what you guys do with the election. I better have a drink.
Yeah, it's so dark. It can get dark.
Yeah, and the world is getting dark, man. This should last in the last couple of days that's been going on, man. This is there's so many sides and so many ways to see what's happening, man. And it's so sad because when you watch the news, you really have to understand the history of a people being oppressed, but at the same time, going out and killing innocent people, that's not it, man. Like, there's got to be a better way where we can all hear each other and respect each other. And this shit is so sad. I've been watching it over here in Europe. It's really so sad to see what is happening and what has been happening for years, but people just don't want to pay attention. But now it's this huge, it's in our face. And it seems like music is the one thing that can heal the world. And I've been to Israel and I've played with my Israeli brothers and my Palestinian brothers together. No fighting. Music is cool. So it's like, man, like, what is it that doesn't allow people to see the humanity in other people? Like, I see you as a human being. I don't care if you're white, straight, gay, whatever you want to be. I don't care. If you need my blood or you bleed on the street, I'm not going to walk by you. I'm going to help you. Why can't we get back to that, man? And that's kind of the thing that's, I went to sleep when I got here, man, because I was so depressed, man. I got off the plane. And that's, you can really watch something too much on the news and it messes with you. And it was messing with me because all last night, till about 3 a.m, I was sitting up watching this shit. And I'm saying, come on, really? I thought we did this already. Like, blacks and whites did that already. Now the Jewish and the Palestinian, like, we've been here in history already. So why haven't we learned? What is it that doesn't keep human beings from learning from our mistakes?
That's the question, right? And for me, it ends up like, why do I even bother playing music? It's like the irony of it. Like, music is what we need, but I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Why am I playing? Why
are we trying to? They don't want to change, and the only answer I can give you is because we were put here to do that.
Right.
If we were supposed to be anything else, we wouldn't be on this conversation right now. If you were supposed to be a carpenter, you would be a carpenter. If you were supposed to be an electrician or a businessman, whatever, that's what we'd be doing. But whatever you believe in, if you believe in anything, for some reason you were given this talent and gift to do what you do. So it's up to us to really try and and it seems, I know sometimes it seems impossible, but we got to try hard, and we haven't done it good enough yet. And I guess we got to try harder. So that's my motivation, try harder.
Dig that, man. Well, to bring it back to the drums, to wrap it up here, you're wearing an Open Studio t-shirt. I just watched a bunch of your stuff online today. I saw a live stream for a new record with Peter Martin. So what is going forward with this concept, Open Studio?
Same thing. Well, the concept started actually for me in my basement first, and my buddy Peter was able to take that and run with it, and some of his other videos came out. But yeah, we just create content for young people, old people to watch and to learn from. And I just did a whole new round of videos, and you see what it is. It's just about giving different ways to approach the instrument. We talked about everything from tuning the drums. I've even done some videos about cleaning the drums, because these are all things that I was fascinated with as a kid. But we talk about how to get a good sound, and really just enjoying the instrument and enjoying what you do. And so I'm glad it's just this platform, Open Studio, which allows people to go at their own pace. And that's the important part. Like, over the pandemic, I saw this. Like, I had so many, and I still do have so many students, and we go at their own pace. You're able to learn at your own pace and do things that will help you to get better, but you don't have to feel pressure. So you can study at home. You can watch these courses over and over and over. And that's the beauty of it, Yeah,
I just watched a lesson on brushes. You're like beginner brushes. Like, man, everybody needs to see this.
Yeah, man. Myself, Ulysses has one too. So it's there for everyone. And like I said, you don't have to feel like, sometimes when guys take lessons or young ladies take lessons, they feel pressure sitting there when you're sitting there with them. I say, hey, man, you don't have to feel no pressure. You don't have anything to prove to me. Just relax and let's get you to sound better. And so this way you can be in your house and there's no pressure. You can start and stop when you want, All
right, last question. I ask every guest this. What was your first snare drum?
A Pearl Export snare drum, real snare drum. Yeah, Pearl Export snare drum. I had a black Pearl Export set that Smitty came over and tuned. It made sound so good. Oh my God. So yeah, that was my first snare drum. But really the very first one was a Muppet drum set when I was super young. And that didn't, those heads that you didn't tune, and I didn't realize that. So I was so young, and I took the drumstick and went straight through the head. My dad said, "Oh, good."
I had the same kit. Little like plastic splash
Yeah.
cymbal.
And once you went through the head, it was over. So I was like, oh shit, what did I just do? My dad was like, oh good, what are you doing? No.
What came after that? Like another toy kit, or did you go straight to real drums?
No, then my dad had Ludwig Crystalites. Oh man, I used
sick.
to and they all look different color. He had like my dad crazy. He had a set instead of getting a Vistalite, said that all the drums look one color, like all the drums were different colors. That's when I knew I was in. That's when I knew I was in a family that was from the Caribbean. Because I was like, man, why the bass drum is blue, the tom is orange, but the other tom is red. Then the floor tom is another clear white, and then the snare drum. What the hell is going on? And I was like, okay. And my dad loved that drum set, man, and it sounded great too.
It does sound very Carly Barrett vibe.
Exactly. Oh, you know, see, you hit the nail right on the head. That's exactly what it was too. Exactly.
Man, well, I appreciate you coming on. So we want everyone to go. You have this on vinyl. The Bang is on vinyl.
The Bang is on vinyl. The Bang is on platforms, Amazon, iTunes, every platform you could think. It's on the D train, on the A train, F train platform. I mean, just go pick it up and, enjoy it. Like I said, it's music for everybody to dance to. And that's the primary goal. We just want you to dance and feel good,
Sick. Where is the best spot to get the vinyl? From your site?
Yeah, or Amazon.
Okay.
It's on the link tree also. Yeah. So if you go to any one of those sites, a lot of my friends have been going to iTunes and getting it there, but it's on Amazon also. So yeah, I would go to Amazon, check it out.
Right on.
Now it's time for the fourth and final part of my odd time fluency lesson series. This time I'm talking about how to make ghost note grooves based on our 4 plus 4 plus 6, 6 plus 4 plus 4, or 4 plus 6 plus 4 groupings in 7/8 time.
Welcome into the fourth and final article in this odd time fluency series. We are working in 7/8 and we are using a 16th note subdivision. So if you've been following along in the previous three parts, we are grouping these 16th notes, which there are 14 of them, in groupings of 4 and 6. Most commonly, where we're going to start is 4 plus 4 plus 6. Now, how do you make a groove with this? So the first way we're going to do this is using alternating single strokes, and we're going to have the right hand on the hi-hat, left hand on the snare. We're going to put a bass drum doubling the first note of the first 4-note grouping. We're going to come over with the right hand on the snare for the first right of the second 4-note grouping, and then we're going to go back to playing the bass drum on the first note of the 3-note grouping, and then hit a left-hand accent on the snare for the start of the second 3-note grouping. It sounds way more complicated than it is. Just think of it, you're playing a basic beat where you're going to try to hit back beats, but we're in 7/8. So boom, here's what that sounds like.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1.
This time we're going to change up the sticking. So instead of doing alternating singles, we're going to do regular paradiddles for the 4s. So right, left, 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 putting an accent on the snare on that second group of 4. And then when you get to the 6s, we're going to do right, left, right, left, and bring the right over to hit a backbeat on the snare on the second 3. So right, left, snare, left.
5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1.
This time pretty much the same thing, except we're going to use inverted paradiddles instead of regular paradiddles. So right, left, right, left, and then do the same right, left, for the 6.
5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1.
As I've said before, you can use pretty much any 4-note sticking or 6-note sticking or 3-note sticking that you want for these groupings. We're going to just stick with those 3 options. Because now I want to move that 6 to the beginning. So we're doing 6 plus 4 plus 4. We're going to start with alternating strokes. We use the same rules. So the first 3 is on the hi-hat with the bass drum added. Second 3, accent the snare. And then the first 4, bass drum and hi-hat. And then second 4, bring the right over to play the snare.
5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1.
Same concept with paradiddles. 6 plus 4 plus 4.
5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1.
And here it is with inverted paradiddles on the 4s.
5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1.
things don't work out quite as smoothly when you do the 4 + 6 + 4 combination, but alternating strokes, it works okay. So you do the same as before. First 4-note accent with the bass drum and the hi-hat, come over to play the snare on the 3, and then we're going to just add another accent on the second 3, and then back to the bass drum and hi-hat on the 4. So all the 4s will be starting with the bass drum on beat 1, and then the 6s will be 2 groups of 3 with snare, snare.
5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1.
When you use the paradiddle sticking for the 4s, things have to change when you get to that 6. So for the first 4, you're going to play a right paradiddle with the bass drum doubling on the first note. When you get to that 6, you're going to play left, right, right, left, right, right, followed by a left paradiddle to cycle it back around.
5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1.
And we'll do the same thing with the inverted paradiddle. So right, left, right for the first 4, left, right, left, right for the 6, and then left, right, left for the second 4.
5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1.
So that's just a sampling of different ways you can play grooves using these 4-4-6, 6-4-4, 4-6-4 groupings and 7-8. And we've only done a couple stickings. You can mess with all the stickings you can think of for the 4s and the 6s. The point is to make sure that it has some sort of backbeat, some sort of pocket. It shouldn't just be randomness. That's why some of those paradiddles get a little bit tricky. You might have to modify some stickings, whatever. Just come up with your own ideas, and then once you get comfortable with that, start adding in fills using the bass drum substitution ideas we did in the previous article. The flam substitutions, you can move those around. We didn't even touch that whole concept. So there's a lot to be explored. Have fun with it. Let us know what you think, and we'll see you in the next lesson.
It's time to answer a couple listener questions. This one came in a while ago from Ignacio. I have a Gretsch Catalina Club. This is a bop kit, 18-12-14. The hardware is pretty weak. I'm wondering about swapping out some parts. So what should I do? Or should I just buy a new kit? So those kits are pretty cheap, but you know what? They sound nice. So I would just fix things that are showing signs of breakage. Bass drum spurs seem to be the first thing to go on those. I've seen tom mounts become an issue with those. Look over your lug casings. Some of those have been cracking at the connecting point where the screw goes in. So just look for, I would just fix things that you see are showing signs of wear. I wouldn't go crazy about upgrading all the hoops and all that stuff. Just look for things that might be not working properly or just starting to wear out. Spurs, mounts, floor tom leg brackets. What else? Some of the lug casings, maybe the internal tension rod receivers, those can strip out depending if you tune really high or not. So just give it a once over and only replace the things that look like they're about to break or are showing signs of wear. The rest of it I would leave alone. If you're going to start spending a ton of money, then yeah, I would just start searching for maybe a slightly better kit. But those kits sound good, so just get it working and have fun with it. I get this question often. This is from Chris. I'm looking to order some new hoops for a used Ludwig Blackrolite snare drum. Any suggestions? Blackrolite is the version of the classic seamless aluminum acrylite shell with a painted black sparkle finish. I think they came out in the 90s, early 90s. So upgrading the hoops on those. That's a dry shell. It's not going to have it's not going to have a huge loud tone. So I think if you put anything too heavy on that, like a die cast or a 3.0, you're just going to deaden it even further and kind of kill whatever nuance might be in there. So I would go lighter. Either 1.6 triple flange, which is the thinnest version of a triple flange. It'll give you the most flex and make the tone kind of as open as possible. Maybe go down to a single flange with clips if you want to make it kind of more a vintage look. And again, it'll allow it to resonate to its fullest. Or you can go with some solid brass single flange, or I wouldn't get the heavy solid brass 2.3s. Again, I think that'll just be too much weight on that shell. So in my opinion, for that type of shell, you want to lighten it up. So go with either 1.6 triple flange or some single flange or double flange hoops. Give that a shot. If you have any questions you want me to answer on the show, shoot them over to drumcandypodcast@gmail.com and I will get to them as soon as possible.
For our warehouse pick of the week, this is something I've talked about before, but we still have a handful of these in stock. This is the 5x14 seamless aluminum DFD snare drum. This is an amazing drum, and I'm going to be completely candid, not just because I work at Drum Factory Direct. This drum has replaced my Superphonics for most situations. I go to this first. Why do I go to it first? It has more sound, more open sound. The solid brass tube lugs, I think, really help with that. It's got big, sturdy 2.3 steel hoops. It's got good quality German-style, I think it's 20-strand snares with the bronze end clips. It's got a nice, sturdy throw-off, so unlike some of the old vintage ones that can kind of loosen as you play or even pop off, this thing's going to hold its tension no matter what. So, and the best part is, this sucker is only $349.95. So it's a steal. It's an amazing drum. Everyone that I know that's used it has been knocked out by it. So go check it out. It's the 5x14 seamless aluminum DFD snare drum. We have like a dozen of them, I think, in stock. So get one now, because once they're gone, they're gone. That is it for this week's episode. Thank you for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, give us a review, give us a 5-star rating, and we'll be back next week with a new interview. So have a good one, and see you then.